Part 7. Okay, I wanted the last one to be my last video, but hopefully this one will be. I'm going to try to wrap some things up. As I said, my energy is kind of running low on this. But anyways, as I said, I was in therapy, and my mom suggested the little Slim Fast diet. And I told her, okay, 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 I'll do that. And surprisingly, she went out and bought me Slim Fast stuff, Slim Fast drinks, and everything. And of course, I was hiding them, not drinking them, not wanting to gain the weight from them because I knew if I was drinking them, I would gain weight from this diet. And she thought everything was better. In therapy, I was lying. I was telling them I'm okay. I wasn't even discussing my eating disorder as much. And plus, even my therapist, she was kind of wacky, anyways. She actually needed help too, and so, but I stayed in therapy, I think, for 6 months and never got anywhere. Pretty much just discussed my family and my past. Nothing. If I did, when I did mention my eating disorder, my therapist just said, "Oh my gosh, Sabrina, you are beyond thin. You're severely underweight. Don't you even worry about your weight. It wasn't, you're emaciated. You should be in a hospital. You need treatment for this eating disorder." It wasn't none of that. It was like nobody noticed my weight loss. I think that I hid it so well. Um, so after all that, I just kind of gave up on myself, and I was on medication at that time. I was on Effexor, and I was also babysitting. That was my job. I was babysitting for a family friend, and the mother, the person that I babysit for, was had depression, and she had pills laying around, and I think it was Wellbutrin or something. And I decided this is it. This is it. I can't handle it. Nope, nobody's noticing me. You know, this is not the kind of control I wanted. And for so long, I thought, okay, once you lose the weight, once you get here, you can just stop. Um, I tried to stop so many times. It's not something that you can just stop. I realized at this point that this was controlling me. That I kind of gave up. I was gonna die anyways. I thought. So uh, I took her pills and my pills together, and I stole some of her pills and mixed them in with mine, and decided that on Halloween night of 2005 I was going to commit suicide. And before then, I tried to commit suicide 2 other times with slitting my wrists, which didn't go over. I wasn't even taken to the hospital or anything for it. I hit it, and I didn't cut deep enough. I kind of backed out of it. It was just small cuts, but I attempted. That's what my intentions were, to kill myself with the cutting. So that was my plan, to do that, and I was still with the witchcraft. I was just so depressed, just out of my mind. I was pretty much going crazy at this point. My restricting, I was going days without eating. Um, I passed out at home sometimes and would lie in my bed all day on the weekends when we didn't have school. Was never checked up on. At that point, I was taking laxatives, diet pills, even purging even small amounts of food like salad, or even if I had a small bit of cheese, or I even stopped drinking water, and I started getting urinary tract infections. I was rushed to the hospital for one. My life was just going out of control, but I still wanted this eating disorder. I just couldn't let go. I couldn't see how much I was damaging myself with it. I was just so blinded by everything in my life. And all my aunts and uncles were coming to my mom because we had a reunion or something, and They all went to my mom worried, asking if I had an eating disorder, asking if I was anorexic, because I couldn't hide my weight loss anymore. I could wear the baggiest clothes I wanted, but I started getting even more emaciated, and I couldn't hide it anymore, no matter what I wore, and people started to notice. And my mom even started to notice, and started to notice how serious it was for the first time in her life. Um, my sisters did too, and but when my father, it was still disconnected with him. He just couldn't admit it, and he came up to me and told me what everybody was saying about me. And even the times that I was going to commit suicide, when my sister found out that I was going to commit suicide, with the cutting, um, they told my dad. My dad came up to me and said, "Were you going to kill yourself?" And I had no answer. And he laughed in my face, saying, "Yeah, right. You would never do that." Um, but he had no idea that in my head, on Halloween night, I was gonna do this thing. I had it planned. Kill myself. I'm tired of this life. I'm just tired of living in this dark circle. There's no way out. Nobody understands me. So, but at my husband, boyfriend, well, ex-boyfriend at the time, it was a month before Halloween. I decided to do it on Halloween because I felt like, again, it was the darkest night of the year, and I just felt like that was the best way to go. I don't know, something about it was just dark for me, and as I said, I was just so overly obsessed with all the dark stuff. But a month before, I saw my ex-boyfriend again, and he had at the time given his life over to Christ, over to God. And because before, he was having problems too with alcoholism, as his dad's an alcoholic, and just things like that. And he had recovered, and noticed the bad shape I was in, and tried to get me out of it. Wanted to get back together, and I didn't want to get back together because I knew I was going to kill myself. Um, Around Halloween. I didn't want to put him through that. I didn't want anybody in my life. But we would still talk on the phone, still call each other, and he was trying to push all this Bible stuff on me, and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to have anything to do with God. I hated God at this point. I didn't even know if He existed. I just didn't even want to bother with that. I didn't want to think about the consequences that I was doing to myself, and I just wanted, when I was dead, I thought, that's it, I'm dead. I don't have to face up to a God or anything. I was just grounded in that. So, um, he would still, tell me that he cared about me and was the only support at that time. And I would call him sometimes at night just crying for no reason. I mean, I still was going to kill myself, but I just had this doubt in the back of my head, and I was hearing all these voices in my head, and I was just so overwhelmed. I just wanted to reach out, but I couldn't reach out. And Halloween night came around, and I was gonna do it. I got the pills. I mixed the pills together, and I mixed some Tylenol, Advil, some other diet pills that my mother had, laxatives. I was just gonna mix it all together and just take it, and everything. I didn't even have a suicide note. I didn't even think anybody would care what happened to me. So I had a few pills in my mouth. I took them, and I was getting ready to take all of my pills when this thought, this voice just came in my head and said, "I've always been there. I've always been there." And that moment changed my life. It may seem unreal to some of you, but my emotions are building up inside so much right now because at that moment I knew who was talking to me, and he never left me. And it was an amazing moment in my life. It was God. I knew it. Even though I didn't want to believe in Him, even though my life was crumbling at the seams, He was always there.